You see this? I will smack you with it if you don't listen and listen carefully. You mean to tell me that you have been rotating and revolving on this planet more than 10 times and you're still not confident? And I know this is not your first video, but I will make it your last video on confidence. Hi there, if you're new here, my name is Felicity and I am on a mission to make every single person on this planet shameless. So if that sounds like content you're into, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Now let's get into it. The chances are quite clear. You are here because you want to be confident, you want to transform into a different person. The kind of person that owns a room when they walk into it. The kind of person that is not intimidated by speaking to people. The kind of person who is confident in who they are and the opinions that they have. If that is you, you have all the raw materials. Let me process you and transform you into a confident person. I have summarized the tips on how to be confident in 5 simple steps. Let's jump in. Tip number 1, if you don't listen to any of my points, I want you to stick with point number 1. This is own your bad traits. Yes, own them. The reason why we struggle with confidence is because we embody most of the time our insecurities. So we get so fixated on the things that are imperfect about us that we don't even get to appreciate the things about ourselves that we like. Every single time that you have an insecurity that is bugging you, the minute someone looks at you, you think they're looking at your big nose. The time somebody looks at you funny, you start thinking, is this dress too tight? Is my body too fat? It is because of your insecurities. You've been embodying them instead of owning them. To give you a very practical example, look at my chest. For the longest time, I have struggled with body acne, specifically chest acne. It is something that is hereditary, but I've always lived with my mom having clear chest. Every time I would look at her chest, I would always look at how clear it is, and it would remind me of what I was lacking in myself. You know what I did? I owned it. I am not waiting for the day when my chest acne will clear out for me to live my life happily, for me to own the moments that I have on this planet. I am not waiting on that. Neither should you. I am on this internet showcasing my chest acne because it is not the part of me that I consider to be the most important. You have blown out of proportion your insecurities. And because you are so fixated on these blown up proportions of them, you cannot live a happily and fulfilled life. And you know how you can get rid of that? Owning them. If you have a nose that you don't like, own it. Just say, I have a big nose. And in fact, to convince yourself of how stupid this is, just say, I have a big nose and that is why I will be a loser for the rest of my life. Imagine yourself 70 years old with your children asking you, why didn't you accomplish anything in your life? And all you have to say is, I had a big nose. Do you not see how dumb that is? Thank you. When you own them, when somebody points it out, it's just like, oh yeah, okay. And that's not gonna be the reason I'm gonna live a bad life. People will always perceive you. Do you know that even the most perfect, symmetrical people on this planet are being judged? People are calling J-Lo fat. What do you think they'll do to you? On this planet, you need to be dangerously on your own side. And the best way you can do that is by owning your insecurities. Thank you. Step number 2 to becoming more confident. You need to learn how to say no more often. For some of you, no in itself is such a rare vocabulary, you don't know where you would put it. Anybody that wants you anywhere at any point of time, you're already crumpling up your schedule to go and fit them. Any person who wants access to your energy and your time, all they have to do is ask, what are you? A robot? You are behaving like a doormat that people know they can step on. People will always mirror the level of self-love that you have for yourself towards you. If you show people that they do not have to work or earn your time and energy, they will treat you as such. You cannot live this life as an extra in somebody else's main character life. You have made your life about other people. That is why you're struggling with confidence. You know, at the root of self-confidence, the thing you will find there is something I like calling being the main character. It is recognizing that the way you think that other people's voices, other people's thoughts, other people's things are important, you also consider yourself as important. You and other people cannot agree 100% of the time. If you find yourself agreeing with people more than, I would dare say more than 50%, then chances are you're a people pleaser, and if you are struggling with self-confidence. You know when you'll be confident the time you tell a person no, because it subconsciously teaches you that you and your time are worthy of respect, that you respect your own decisions. You teach yourself that you are important. And I'll give you a very practical example. Today is Sunday. I just came from church. I usually go to church at 11:30. At around 9, I got a request from one of my very good friends. This is a very good friend of mine who was asking me if we can visit another church. They said that they had been looking for me the previous day, but they could not find me. And this was their last resort now to call my private number. So when they reached out to me, they said, would you be ready in an hour for us to pick you up and take you there? You know what I said? No. Because I already had my own plans that I trust and I'm safe with. I am not about to jumble up my life just because they had plans that they had put me in and it would disappoint them. You need to be okay with disappointing others. With practice, you will teach yourself that the most important opinion is your own. So start saying no. Oh, Felicity, I know I said something that hurts you, but can I please just be your friend? Can we just put it aside and be your friend? You say, no, I'm not willing to move with this until you apologize. You know why? Because having access to me is a privilege. And if you want to enjoy that privilege, you must act accordingly. You're welcome. Step number 3 is to get out of your comfort zone. Since the minute you dropped on this earth, the world has been working overtime to ensure that you become an insecure person and that you do not live the best life on this planet. It has kept you safe in a comfort zone. You know you could apply for that greater job, but you've said no. You know you could leave that person and pursue a better relationship with yourself, but this is more comfortable. If you never, ever, ever become comfortable with getting uncomfortable, you will never become confident. Because at the end of the day, what is confidence? Confidence is having the trust in someone's capability to push through things. You cannot have that if you're not pushing through anything. When I started law school, I was in first year. It was my first semester. We had this activity that is called mooting. It is just an activity where law students compete against each other in a hypothetical case. So they had tryouts for a certain moot and they had invited us to participate. It was open for first years all the way to fourth years. And I wanted to join the tryouts. But majority of my classmates were like, oh, but you're a first year. What are you going to say? How are you going to present? What are you going to do? You'll be scared. You'll fail. It was very uncomfortable for me to jump into something that I didn't know was going to work out. I had never done such a thing in my life. So you know what I did? I said, does this make me uncomfortable? I will do it. I will pursue it. And I did it. And because of that courage, I have traveled around the world, Rwanda, United States of America, just because of mooting, because of trying. You know the amount of confidence I have now in my ability to moot? It is amazing. I didn't have that confidence before. Confidence is gotten mostly by doing. Yes, you can say the affirmations. Yes, you can affirm yourself every single day, but if you yourself do not do the actions that it takes to become a confident person, you will be stuck as an insecure person who lacks confidence. And by the way, getting out of your comfort zone doesn't have to be such a big thing. It can be something as small as talking to a stranger, asking for a stranger to take a picture of you, filming in public. For me, I've never vlogged in public. For the months of September, October, November, I plan to be filming and vlogging in public because it will get me out of my comfort zone, and that means it will grow my confidence. This is a never-ending journey. You need to hop on the ride. Step number 4. I know this one is very controversial. I know you don't want to hear it, but I will be the one to tell you the truth. Also, if you don't agree with me, I could just smack you. If you want to become a confident person, it is very, very important that you invest in the way that you look. I know there are many people who say you should be more than what you look like. I agree, and you are more than what you look like. But let me just give you a simple analogy. If you had 2 gifts, both with the same exact thing, but one was shabbily wrapped and one was well packaged, trust me, you know, if you ask yourself, you would not even look at that gift that is shabbily wrapped twice. You would not take it hoping that what is inside will be worth you sacrificing the outside, right? So if you wouldn't do that, why do you expect people to do the same thing for you? This analogy changed my life. You have to present yourself like the gift that you say you are. And this is because effort will always be attractive. It's not just about looks. It's about the effort. If you had a golden ring, I trust that you will not be throwing it anywhere. You would take so much good care of that ring, right? That is exactly what you need to do for yourself. You need to treat yourself like that. At the end of the day, it is about how you feel about yourself. The reason that you don't put effort in the way that you look is probably because you fear what other people will think. So you're here saying that you're not putting up a show because you don't care what other people think. But the reason you're not putting up the show is because you don't want people to say things like, oh, she's trying so hard. Or look at me right now. I just came from church. It was probably like a 2-hour thing. I had a full face beat because it makes me feel like the greatest and highest version of myself. Can I exude the same energy without a full face beat? I can, but I show up like the highest version of myself, the most confident version of myself, and that is why I am a pretty confident person. And I wasn't always like this. I still remember the first day that I put makeup on my face. I actually walked around and I felt like people were looking at me dangerously, but I still kept going. You know why? Because I didn't care about them. I cared about me and my art and the effort that I put into myself. And this doesn't have to be makeup. It could be in the way that you dress, picking classier options, in the way that you accessorize, putting in your jewelry, in your hair. You can have what you call a signature style. I personally like wigs. That is why I have invested in them. I like my wigs. You use trial and error to figure out what are the things that make up your personal style that will be part of you putting effort into yourself. You cannot do that if you never try. Number 5, this one is actually not as simple as the rest. You have to do the inner work. You can do every single thing that I've said, but if you don't do the inner work, that is the shadow work, then you will never become a confident person. As I said, the minute you dropped onto this earth, you have been on a journey that has killed your self-confidence. A child is usually a pretty confident person. They don't care about what people say. But after living a while on this planet, they start developing insecurities. Or black girls aren't liked, or fat people aren't allowed to be happy, or I can't have that job because I grew up poor, or poor people deserve to struggle. For me, I still remember to this day, the reason that I had never danced, I started dancing again when I was 20 years old. And I don't dance professionally, I mean like dancing for fun. I would not move my body. And I realized that it was because at the age of 6, I actually danced in front of my church and I was at the front line. They said I was that good, but you know, they'll be saying anything to children. And I remember I missed a step. And my brother told me that I missed a step and I was like, in front of other people? I can't believe this. I've been training. How could I miss a step? From that day onwards, I'm talking about 14 years of my life without moving a single bone in my body in the rhythm of a dance. And I had to look at that and tell myself, I don't care if they saw me like that. That is why I developed a whole fear with being seen trying, or a fear of failure because I didn't want to fail in front of other people. Right now, I couldn't care less because I've done the inner work. I've decided that yes, I failed and it is still okay for me to fail. In the future, things might not go the way that I want. And whether or not they do, I have chosen to be a happy and fulfilled person. You know why? Because I have such a strong self-concept, such a strong relationship with myself. And as long as I have that, I have everything I need to live a happy and content life. You must do the inner work. Believe it or not, the inner work needs you to be alone. And this is bonus point number 6. If you want to be a confident person, you have to learn how to be alone. The art of solitude is what will save you from so much that is in this world. The minute you're okay with solitude, you develop the most dangerous trait on this earth. And that is being okay with walking away. Some of us, the lack of confidence shows in us not being able to walk away. You can't walk away from toxic things. You feel like that is the best thing that you could ever get. Do you really think that you were put on this planet to live in suffering? Be for real. You are so important on this planet, and you have to take the time to get to know who you are as a person. Appreciate that, love that, and you can only do that by being alone and doing the inner work. Some of you cannot even sit with yourself. You need to put yourself on timeout and sit with yourself. And with that, we have reached the end of the video. If you liked any of these tips, or you have any more tips on how you became more confident, please share them down below. Let the community love it. Remember, I read all of my comments. Don't forget to leave this video a like, comment down below, and also subscribe, because it tells other people that this is a wonderful community to be in. Until next time, my sunshines, bye.